what's up? This is DJ Big Wiz. We're here at DJ City talking about Mixars' new mixer, the Duo. Mixars is a brand new company out of Italy. They just went public in January, and this is their first mixer into the market. They're the first company to partner with Serato straight out the gate. So that says a lot about what Serato believes in them and the future for this company. Again, the Duo, one sound card mixer, 2-channel mixer. It's really quick and easy to control everything you need to do in Serato DJ from the mixer. So you have your cue points on the side. First 4 cue points, hit the bank button, you get your next 4. So all 8 cue points can be triggered and set from the mixer. If you want to set a cue point, it's as easy as hitting one of the pads, and when you want to delete it, just hold down shift and hit the pad again to delete the cue point. You can also trigger all your samples from your SP6 sample player within Serato DJ. There's a toggle switch that switches between cues and sampler, and these pads in sample mode will trigger all your samples. Now you have 4 banks in the SP6 sample player, bank A, B, C, and D. Each bank has 6 samples in it, or you can add 6 samples in it, so that gives you 24 samples. You can flip through your banks by hitting the bank button. Each bank is a different color, so visually you can look at the mixer and know that you're in bank A, B, C, or D. You can have your first 3 samples here, 4, 5, and 6 over here. You also have a dedicated volume for the sampler, so when you're triggering your samples, you can control the volume independently from what's playing on the 2 separate channels. You got your air horn on deck, you're ready to go. You can also, of course, trigger all your loops and loop rolls from the mixer as well without having to go to your laptop. You have a loop knob here, and if you turn the loop knob, you can adjust the parameter of the loop, like how long you want it to be. And if you press down on it, it'll set the loop. You can adjust the loop while it's still looping, so if you want to shorten it or lengthen it, you can do that just by turning the knob up and down. And when you want to stop the loop, just press down on it again, and it'll turn the loop off. If you want to do loop rolls, all you need to do is hold down the shift button and then press down on the knob, and it'll do a loop roll. Each channel also has its own dedicated high pass, low pass filter knob. So right here on the channel strip above the fader, you have your filter knob. If you turn it left, it engages the low pass filter. If you turn it right, you get in the high pass filter. You can also control all your Serato DJ effects from the mixer. There aren't built-in effects in the mixer, but it gives you complete control over all your Serato-enabled effects. You have an effects knob right here that controls the wet-dry of the effect. So like if you have a delay, how much of the delay you hear. You have an on-off button that turns the effect on and off. And if you hold down shift and press the on button, you can use the knob to scroll through your effects and actually change effects. Anytime you see like a feature highlighted with a little white box around it, that means if you hold the shift button down, that knob or that button is going to do like something extra, whatever's written on the box. You have these beat buttons up here above the effects knob, and what that will do, that'll let you lengthen or shorten the parameter of the effect. So if you have a delay and you want it to be longer, you can hit the beat button towards the right. If you want it to be a shorter delay, you can hit the beat button to the left, and that'll shorten that delay or that reverb or whatever the effect is. Of course, you also have your 3-band EQ on each side, the low, mid, and highs. You have your trim or your gain right here. The headphone section is right above the sampler volume knob in the middle, so it's kind of out of the way of everything else. It's really intuitive, kind of where it should be. You have your headphone volume right here, and you can pan between your cue and master right above that. On the front face of the mixer, you can split between normal queuing or split queuing as well. A couple of unique things about this mixer. You have a USB hub built into the back. Nowadays, with laptops having 1 or 2 at most USB ports, it's important to have more USB access. So if you have a MIDI controller, or you just need to charge your iPhone, or charge somebody else to charge their iPhone, or if you have a thumb drive with your songs on it, you can put in, play from your laptop, you know, with everything on your thumb drive. It just gives you a little more convenience. You also have on the front, your auxiliary in and your mic in are on the front. So let's say if for some reason you have to hook up an iPhone or an iPod or whatever it is to play a song, you don't have to fiddle around in the back of the mixer, digging around, you know, in a dark club trying to find the ports or move wires out of the way. It's in the front, nothing else is in the way. Plug it in, do what you need to do. When you're done, you can unplug it. You can also switch between the mic and the aux channel. Now you have your tone control for your aux and your mic on top of the mixer, and your volume control as well right there. You can also reverse all your inputs, your crossfader, your channel faders, and control the curve on the front of the mixer as well. Each one of the channel faders, you can reverse it to where it's off at the top and on as you bring it down. You can control the curve. So if you scratch normally and not hamster where your fingertips open the sound, you can reverse the input of the fader, make a sharp curve, and then you can use the channel fader to scratch with. You can also do the same with the crossfader. You can flip it so it's hamster style, so now the crossfader is reversed. You can also, this is the first mixer that lets you control the cut-in point of the fader, crossfader, as well as the curve control on it within the front of the mixer. So on the right, on the front panel, you have your normal curve, which is how sharp the curve is going to be once the sound comes in. The cut-in knob actually dictates how far over the fader has to go before the sound cuts in. Then once it cuts in, you can control how sharp the curve is. So again, first mixer to implement that, along with the USB hub in the back. Speaking of new features being implemented into DJ gear, Mixars has their own turntables, a STA, which is an S-shaped tone arm, and an LTA, which is a straight tone arm. Other than that, they're identical. What is different and unique about these turntables is they're the first turntables that have two outputs on the back of the turntable. So that means you can hook one turntable up to two mixers. So if I have two Mixars duos or any mixers set up to this one turntable, with different laptops, I can actually have two different songs or two different sounds playing on the same record at the same time. So two DJs could be sharing one turntable, doing a scratch routine, and depending on whose crossfader is over, you're going to hear a different sound, or two sounds at once being controlled by the same record. So this company is dedicated to giving us new tools, new ideas, new things to be creative with and work with, and figure out how we're going to incorporate those into what we do from now on. The whole mixer is also MIDI mappable. So if there's a feature on here you don't use, like we have sync buttons. So for people who like to use sync in their mix, you can sync your songs. If you hold down shift to hit the sync button again, it turns the sync off. I don't really use sync that often, so I like to map those to other things. I usually map the sync button to the tap tempo of my effects, so I can tap in a tempo of a scratch sound and make a delay on beat or whatever. And if I hold down shift and hit sync, I usually use that to turn my key lock on and off. So when you scratch, it's not really cool to have key lock on because you don't get a lot of the fluctuations and intonations of the sounds, the variation like from your speed control. But when you're mixing, it's good to have the key lock on so everything still sounds the same when you speed it up and slow it down. So again, anything on here you don't use can be MIDI mapped to whatever you want to use it for. So that's a basic overview and rundown of the new Mixars Duo mixer. This mixer is also in the ballpark of like $900 to $1,000 depending on where you get it, which is pretty much half the price of any other Serato enabled mixer all in one package out there on the market. Your next step up is going to be like $1,800 to $2,000. So there's literally nothing else in the same price range as this mixer. If you're looking to get into the all-in-one mixer Serato DJ game and can't afford $2,000, $1,800, this is the mixer for you.